In lesson 91, we look at linear inequalities, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and systems of linear inequalities. So first I just want to look at graphing a linear inequality. Now you'll notice that we have this set up with the slope-intercept form. So the y is all by itself, and we still want to graph it like we would a line. It's just now we have to think about, is it going to be a solid line? Would it be a dashed line? Are we going to shade above it? Would we shade below it? So in this one here, this is going to be a dashed line because it doesn't have the equal to sign. It's only less than. So y is less than negative 2x plus 4. So what I'm going to do first is just start with 4 and get some points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's my y-intercept right there. And then my slope is negative 2, so I'm going to go down 2, to the right 1, down 2, to the right 1. And do that as much as you need to, which I try to put quite a few in here, because since I'm going to make this a dashed line, it'll kind of be nice to have those points, and I'll just put little dashes in between them for my dashed line. Alright, now this is less than, so we should shade below the line, but just to double check, if I put in the origin 0, 0, if that makes a true statement, then I'm shading on the right side because that's below the line, but I want to make sure. So I'd have 0 is less than negative 2 times 0 plus 4. So 0 is less than 4, so that's true, so I would be shading the right area. So let me get, I'll just use a highlighter here to shade. And it's nice to actually use highlighters when you're shading, because that way, when we have the systems of equations, when you see them cross, they would change colors, and you can see exactly where the solution is for the two inequality lines for the system of equations. All right. So that is the graph of y is less than negative 2x plus 4. So let's look at the next one. Now this is y is greater than 1/2 x minus 2. So again, it's going to be a dashed line, but I'm going to start, just like I would for graphing a line, with my y-intercept at negative 2, and then I'll use my slope 1/2, so I'll go up 1 and to the right 2. And again, I try to put quite a few points in here. It just helps me make my lines look a little bit better. And this is dashed. Now this time it's greater than, so I would shade above that line, but if you weren't sure, then you can again check, as long as your line doesn't go through 0, 0, check 0, 0, because it's easy math. So we'd have 0 is greater than 1/2 times 0 minus 2. And 0 is greater than negative 2. And that's true, so I'd be shading the right area. Okay, so again, I'm going to use a highlighter here. And I do recommend using those on your homework. And you could shade off the graph because theoretically it does keep on going. But that is the graph for y is greater than 1/2 x minus 2. Alright, let's look at the next ones. Okay, now we're getting some systems of equations, and you can see one of these has an equal to line, so that's going to have to be a solid line. Now the first one is just less than, so we will have a dashed line for that one. So I'm just going to graph these separately, and I'll use different colors for the shading so that we can see where they intersect. So y is less than 1/2 x plus 2. So I'm going to start at 2, my y-intercept on the y-axis, and then I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 2. and then I'll go down 1 and left 2. So I have several points to make a nice looking line. And this was dashed, so I'm just going to put the dashes in between my points. And for this one it's less than, so I should be shading below that line. And again, if we wanted to check, we can put in 0, 0. So I'd have 0 is less than a positive 2, and that's true. So I would be shading the correct side. So we could go ahead and shade that in. Alright, and then on our next one, we have y is greater than or equal to negative x minus 3. So I'm going to use a different color here. And I'm going to start with my negative 3. So I'll go down 3. There's a negative 3 on the y-axis. And then it's a negative 1. So think about that as a negative 1 over a positive 1. So I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. And again, I want to get several points just because my lines are never very straight. Alright, now this is supposed to be a solid line. As you can see, I need some guided help on that. A ruler would be nice. Alright, so that's my solid line. And this time it's greater than, so I need to shade above it. And if I want to check, I can use 0, 0 again because it does not go through 0, 0. If it does, then you can use any other point. Okay, so here we go. If I put 0 in, it'll be 0 is greater than or equal to negative 3. And that's true, so I am going to shade the right area. I'll use a green highlighter here. So you can see, and it may not show up very well here. So I'll use a different color to show where that's intersecting. It's intersecting there. I think that color might have done a better job, but this is where they intersect, and that's actually considered where the solution of the system of inequalities is. Okay. Alright, let's look at the last example here. Oops, went down too far. Okay, so I have y is greater than x minus 2. So I'm going to start at a negative 2, and then my slope is a 1, or a 1 over 1, so I'll go up 1 over 1. This is going to be a dashed line because it doesn't have the equal to. Okay. And probably that many points is dashed enough, but we'll just make sure. Alright, now it's greater than, so I would shade above that line. And I can double check with the 0, 0, so 0 is greater than negative 2, and that's true. So I could shade above that line here. Alright, and then I'll graph my next line. It's going to be solid. So I have y is less than or equal to x plus 1. So I'm going to go to my positive 1 here, and then up 1 over 1. And you can see these are parallel lines because they have the same slope with different y-intercepts, so they're never going to intersect. But since we have shading, the shading is going to intersect, or most of the time it will. Not all the time, but if they have a solution, it will intersect. Alright, so this is less than, so I would shade below this line. Alright, so let's see, oh yeah, there, that changed the color, that's better. So you can see they intersect in between, in the middle. Let's see if I can make that very apparent here, it's red. Alright, so for these lines, in between is the solution for where they would intersect. right? If you have any questions, feel free to contact me by email, or you can ask me in class. Hopefully this helps.